Today on Dirt Road CRED, we are in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, and we are headed down to the Barrett-Jackson 2026 auction. Now, our friends at AMW have brought a brand new 2026 Purple Rain Gladiator Turnkey, and we're going to be heading down there to check it out and show you some brand new products that you guys have never seen before. Let's hop in one of these Jeeps and head down and check it out. This is going to be a fun one here. We're out in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, and we are here with the team at America's Most Wanted 4x4. Now, what's cool about this is Jared called us the other day and was like, hey, do you guys want to come out and hang out with us here in Arizona? And it's -5 in Pennsylvania. So not only do we love hanging out with Jared and his whole team at AMW, but also escaping and getting into 70 degrees is something really cool. And then on top of that, they decided to build this brand new 2026 Purple Rain Gladiator. So cool about this thing is we just picked up our own, so it gives us so many more ideas on how we can build ours. They got this thing rushed to be here at Scottsdale Barrett-Jackson. And what's cool about this thing is this is one of their turnkeys. Now, when you walk around it, we're gonna start to take a look at it from the front to the rear. And I kind of want to walk you through this because being a 26 and a Purple Rain, I think a lot of you guys are looking at buying one of these things and perhaps building it up. Now, underneath the hood of this has got 840 horsepower and is powered by a supercharged Demon engine. 8-speed transmission still in there, but it has been completely upgraded to match the horsepower of the engine. And then what I love on the front of these, Ryan, and you're a big fan of these too, AMW's front bumpers. Absolutely amazing looking bumpers. What's cool about these is it's a complete aluminum skin, and then the entire substructure is all steel. So the tow hooks popping out, which are Purple Rain, Factor 55, everything set up in here is housing that Warren Xeon winch, and this thing can basically go anywhere and get unstuck if it's anywhere else. Ryan, how far in this video do you want to wait till we start showing them new stuff?
Let's go around back.
Let's go around back and then we'll come back up and show you guys some secrets. Now, of course, you guys know that this comes with the AMW 8-lug front and rear axle package, which is, of course, an 8-lug 1-ton axle. It's a Dana 60 up front and a Dana 80 in the rear. Full PSC Hydro Assist steering with steer smarts up front. So this thing can turn just as well and stop just as well with the absolute massive brake package that they have. Now, if you go on here further, I really like what AMW does with the wheels. And Ryan, this is one thing I was curious about with our Purple Rain, is how does bronze look with Purple Rain? Now, when we go down to these wheels here, Ryan, if you want to take a look at these, this is not, would you consider this a bronze or more of like a, this is like a gold. Chocolate bronze. Is that what we're gonna call this? Hershey PA, chocolate bronze. But I really like the way that this accents to it. And I also love the fact that if you guys don't know this, AMW makes their own wheels for these too. So they've actually got their crest all around the beadlock ring. And then we've of course got our hubs up front. Absolutely massive equipment. And this is riding on a set of 40 by 13.5 R17s. But I don't know, I like the bronze on here. I do like the bronze with the Purple Rain. The proportions of this just look so absolutely clean on this Jeep. And unless you know that this thing was bobbed by the way that it's done, you have to sit it next to a stock Gladiator to be able to check it out. Same thing on the back too. We've got AMW's rear bumper here. Integrates so well. Factory reverse sensors, factory tow hooks, the reflectors to meet OE requirements. A lot of people don't know that you have to have a reflector when you have these LED taillights because there is no reflective additive on these, so they have to put this one down there. That's why you see them in the Jeeps. So if you've ever wondered why, that's why. Everything on here so cleanly done, and honestly, it's cool for us because this is a Purple Rain Jeep, right? Like, not many people, I think I've seen one of these built up already, Ryan. There's not many. So getting ideas, getting things that we can do to this thing it's kind of tricky right now. But why don't we walk back up to the front, because they've been hiding some things up their sleeves, and we want to show you a little bit more about what AMW's been cooking up and some surprise products. One of them I didn't even know existed. All right, guys, so we actually headed back to the house here. There was quite a bit of interference with our mics and kind of everything that was going on inside the booth there. I'm not sure if it was because they were filming live. There was a lot of other tech going on, but we wanted to come back and talk about those two brand new products that are on the 2026 Purple Rain Gladiator. And what a better place to do so. We've got an AMW 392 Adventure Series and then one of their turnkeys next to us here. And what's actually cool is we'll open this video up because the first brand new product on the 2026 Purple Rain is the all-new carbon fiber hood. One of the coolest things about this new hood is that it is designed by the team at AMW. You guys are used to the quality, you are used to everything they put into these vehicles, and they wanted to take it one step further with this optional carbon fiber package. Now, if we take a look at this AMW 392 behind us, this is a 392 hood, which does have a nice intake up top and mates right down below to the Hydro Guide. When we go back to the Purple Rain, the 2026 that they brought, you can quite clearly see just how much larger the intake is on that Jeep. Compared to the 392, I would say it's almost double in size. And not only that, it is increasing the airflow to help these larger engines stay cool when you're running them in the hottest conditions. But then the other cool thing about this, so when you pop the hood of this, if you guys were familiar with our 5.7 liter series where we installed our engine into ours, you actually have to bolt the factory Hydro Guide underneath the hood. And that's what sucks in cold air and also emits the hydro or the water out the other side. Now, what's cool about the AMW hood is all of that is built into the carbon fiber. You do not have to bolt anything on. It is already built into there. There's no bolts and it is completely seamless. But then one of the cool things, as we were inspecting the underside of the hood, not only do the factory hood latches bolt back on, the factory prop rod, the spring, the latch, even the sensor little connectors to go over here, and then the weather seals as well. But now you've got that full intake that goes right into the engine underneath the hood. What's also cool is the factory Hydro Guide water flaps still do bolt back into that as well. This was modeled after, we talked to Jared and the team a little bit, it was modeled after a Demon 170 Challenger. So when you look at this thing, if you look at the front hood of a Demon 170 Challenger, which are quite rare to be honest, this is very reminiscent of that. So we wanted to take a closer look, and this is the first time we've seen it in person. We knew it was in the works, but how cool to see it on this Purple Rain Jeep. But then moving on to perhaps one thing that they really kept up their sleeves, and I did not know anything about. This might be something that you guys were familiar with, seeing it in concept vehicles. These are AMW's carbon fiber fender flares for the Gladiator. These things are probably the coolest fender flare we have seen in a very long time. If you guys flash back to a lot of the prior years, out in Moab, Jeep always brings Easter Jeep Safari concepts, and perhaps one of the most favorite or liked items that they used to bring were these custom fender flares with vents along the top. Now, I think what Jeep or Mopar Performance was doing for those is they were actually taking a fender flare like this and then just grabbing a Rubicon hood vent and Frenching it into that. Everyone absolutely loved those. There's been some people that have tried to replicate it over the years, but I don't think it's ever been done to the quality that we are seeing today. So what AMW decided to do, normally when they do a vehicle like this, a turnkey or a lot of their other Jeeps, they have to dissect the fender flare. So Ryan, if you look at this one, you can see the full LED here and then the black plastic that goes along the entire bottom side. When you do a fender chop, you essentially remove all of the fender flare lights and then this section down below, to end up with something like this. Now what this does is remove the entire inner fender as well, so AMW adds in a brand new inner fender flare in the front and rear. Now with their new carbon fiber fender flares, that is already done for them. So they've got full carbon fiber along the entire fender. This is completely constructed out of carbon fiber, and then you get the vents on both sides. This thing is probably one of the coolest fender flares I have seen in a long time. I did not know at all that they were bringing this, besides a brief clip in one of the reels that I saw Max do the other day, and I kept pausing it just to say, where'd you get those? So we're super excited to be checking these out in person, but it didn't just stop at the front. They also redid the entire rear fender flare as well. Now what was cool about the rear fender flare is it matches the original body lines of the Gladiator fender flare. If you look down some of these, you can see there is a bit of body line at the top right around the exterior of the fender flare, and they were able to French that and make it perfect onto theirs. What's also neat is typically on these, they had to leave the inner fender structure. When you do a factory chop on this setup on a Gladiator, it's kind of hard sometimes, and the finished result does not look, I would say, as good as what they've been able to do here. And before I forget about it, they also produced this really nice bezeled edge around the fender flare. So instead of just dropping it down as a straight kind of flat cutoff, they were actually able to notch that out and give it a little bit more structure, as well as just give it a little bit more flair compared to, no pun intended there, give it a little bit more flair compared to these factory ones that just go straight down along here. Overall though, very excited to see these, and personally, I think we need to get a couple sets for our current Gladiators. Well guys, that is gonna be a wrap on today's video. We smell some really good food that's actually being cooked in the kitchen where we've been invited to stay by Jared and his team. And honestly, we're just so grateful for this entire opportunity. Not only did we leave and it was -5 degrees in Pennsylvania, when we arrived here, it was 70 degrees and we get to hang out with some of our best friends. And honestly, there's nothing more valuable to that. We enjoyed so much of walking around Barrett-Jackson. And if you guys haven't seen that video, we have another video that's all about walking around and checking out some off-road content and some Jeeps that were up on the auction block. But we had so much fun out here. And honestly, what I really enjoyed was taking a walk around a brand new 2026 Turnkey. If you guys haven't seen our 5.7 liter installation video, we'd really love to kind of do that same style on a Turnkey. Start to finish, show you all the steps and walk you through the process and really let you see how much work goes into these vehicles. And as always, it's neat when we come out here and talk because we're always hearing and seeing out at AMW headquarters all of the viewers and you guys that are either getting conversions, buying Turnkeys, our current owners, and we love to talk with you guys. If you are interested in picking up either a Turnkey vehicle, getting an Adventure Series, or perhaps just getting a conversion in your Jeep, be sure to go on dirtroadcredmedia.com, or you can go on there, fill out the AMW inquiry form, and get directly connected to their team. Now what's cool about that is because we have such a close relationship, there's also some special perks for doing just that. So if you guys are interested or you just want to hear more information, drop that down below. Just enter a couple of the questions in there and the team would love to help you out. But guys, this has been so much fun. We're so grateful to be out here in beautiful Arizona. Look at the cacti, look at this sunset behind us, and just absolutely beautiful weather. And let's just say before we close this one out, there might be some more custom AMW products coming. Hint, hint at some of these vehicles behind us, but we will save those for a further video. Until next time though, Ryan's behind the camera and I'm here talking to you, and we want you to get out there and earn yours.